Welcome back to K24 Project YouTube channel. And for today's episode, I'm going to be taking you in a process of making this Chinese red mail handful. So let's go with the process. Our first step is taking this beautiful red cloth. It has really beautiful printed flower design all over it. So I decided to use this for this project. I'm just cutting out my basic pattern for top bodies. We have two pieces, one for the back and one for the front. Taking one piece of it, I'm going to be cutting a lower neck into it. Our next step is cutting the sleeves. I just laid two cloth folded together, measuring 25 inches from the edge, which is usually our arm length. And then I'm going to be measuring around 10 inches from the edge corner to make the armhole measures. After that, we can now go on and sew the top bodies. Sew all the sides of the top bodies, and then after you're done with it, you can just go on and run them all in the serger. After you're done with this process, we will be getting this 4 inches strip of red cloth that is around 37 inches in length. I'm going to be folding it into half, and I'm going to be sewing it in the wrong side of the top bodies. After we're done with that, we're gonna run these raw edges into the serger, and when we're done with this, we will flat sew all the wrong edges, flattening it into the inner part of the top bodies. Once we're done flattening sew all the sides of this inner panel, we can now go and run the lower part of the top bodies into the serger, and we're also going to flat sew it down. Now let's go with the sleeves. We will just sew the edge of the two sleeves in two folds. After that, we will make sure that every corner of the sleeves are measured equally together, and we're gonna sew all the sides of it, leaving the armhole behind. After this, we're gonna sew the sleeves directly into the top bodies. It should look like this when done. Now we have our top bodies and our sleeves. Next step is I'm taking this long rectangle cloth and I'm going to be gathering it around in 28 inches. This will be placed in the skirt of our top bodies. The skirt length of this rectangle cloth is around 30 inches from the waist. Attach it into the top bodies, sewing it from the inside to hide the raw edges. And it should look like this when done. So let's go with the belt. I'm taking this 5 inches interfacing cloth and this 12 inches red brocade cloth. I'm going to sew one side of this interfacing, and I'm going to flat sew another side of it, flipping it down in the wrong side, and then sewing it flatly again in all the corners. When we're done with that, I'm going to run the raw edges or the wrong edges into the serger, and I'm going to flat sew it down. Make sure to flat sew all the sides for a clean seam. This will be our belt. Try to put it onto your mannequin and see if it fits perfectly well into the waistline and if you are really contented with the width of it. Now let's go in the next step. We're gonna be making this shoulder detail design that worked on top of the inner handpoke. I'm taking a plain cotton red cloth and taking this brocade cloth to lay over on top of it. Make sure that the two are in the same exact measurement of each other. From here, I'm gonna be measuring around 25 inches, the same measurement of our top bodice. I've already sewed all the sides of this panel, so when I do the marking for the front and in the back, it will hold still. Now, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be marking 6 inches from the middle so we can put it over our neck. Then, we're gonna be shaping it up so it can give this beautiful shape when we roll it into our shoulders. Most likely, the front panel has a thinner look, then same goes for the back panel. It should look like this when you're done. You can try it out into your mannequin and then measure where do you need to cut it to match the belt. Before we cut it, we will sew all the raw edges up to the top. I already run them all into the serger machine so we can just flat sew all the sides of this panel detail. I'm sewing all around the edges, both inside and outside the panel. After you're done with sewing all the sides and the raw seams of this pattern, we can now go fold out and sew the excess parts and measures of the top. I'm sewing around 2 to 3 inches out of the front panel and almost 1 inch from the back. Try it out into your mannequin again and see if it fits. After we're done with that, you can now pin the top panel pieces in front of the belt. Before we sew the back panel though, we need to do a ruffling of it to match the front pieces of the belt. When you're already comfortable with the measure, you can now mark the front pieces where you wanted it to be, and same goes with the back piece. Put it on into your mannequin and it should look like this when you're done. And after we're done with that, I'm taking this beautiful see-through organza, which is around 4 yards of cloth, and I'm going to be trimming it down or gathering it down into a size of 27 to match the waistline of my model. The length of this organza is around 57 because the main purpose of this detail is to cover the floor of the place. It also offers a dramatic look when worn when you're sitting into a position even in your posing. We can now go and sew our magic tape into the belt. When you're done, then our project is finally finished. It should look like this when you put on the organza on the belt. We hope that you enjoy watching this video tutorial, and we will see you again really soon. Bye!